Welcome to Life to a Teee. On this episode, we sit down with Godwin Tom to talk all things legacy in the music business. Thank you for joining me today, Godwin.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to go straight into it. Tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Godwin Tom. I'm chief servant. They usually call it MD at Sony Music Publishing Nigeria, overseeing West and East Africa. I kind of have to say that. And then I'm the founder of CIFA, which is where we set up the Music Business Academy for Africa. I'm a father of 2 kids, a husband to 1 wife, and I like my space. I like to stay. I like to be in my own space. So that's pretty much about me.
Well, thank you so much. I love how you smiled when you said 2 things. When you spoke about your kids and when you spoke about your wife, the gleam, the 32 was shining when you spoke about that.
You know.
And I love that. And we're going to dig into that because while we're going to talk about the music business, we're going to talk about, family, how you balance it all. One of the reasons I created this podcast was centered around how you literally live your life to a T. How do you balance being an executive, being a father, all of that. We're going to talk about that. Okay. But first, we're going to have some rapid questions, right? Mm-hmm. So the first rapid question is, who would you like to manage that you've not managed before?
Who would I like to manage that I haven't managed before? I mean, in this current era, because I haven't done management.
In this current era.
I'm curious about, because if I'm being honest with you, I don't want to work with any artists.
Yes, and I know that. That's why I asked the question. That's why I intentionally asked the question, because you're not managing anyone. You don't want to anymore. But if you could.
It'd be interesting to work with Ira Star.
Okay.
I think that she has an interesting brand. But there would be nothing for me to do because the team at Maven have done everything. So, but it'd be interesting to know how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Just even because I know how you work, but we'll talk about that about the logistical and the structure around how you make all of your decisions. And the second fire question I have for you is, if you had to choose one place to live, where would that be?
Akwa Ibom State.
Oh, home.
Yes.
Home.
The roads work. Akwa Ibom State. I literally traveled to my village for morning dew.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I haven't felt morning dew in Lagos in years, and that's because they've cut down all the trees, and they built. Yeah, so, and there's a place that has no park to view. But that is the name of the place. There are no parks in Ikoyi.
There's a tennis court. There's a couple of tennis courts, but you're right. There's no parks in Ikoyi. And it's wow.
Yeah, think about that.
I
mean, with all this money everybody has, and they're talking about how we're rich, we don't actually. The quality of life is actually horrible.
Oh wow. We'll get into all this. This is why I love fire questions, because they're questions that aren't related to your career, etc. They're just questions that are insightful and things you don't have to think about. So we're going to go straight into something you mentioned as part of your fire question, and that is you are methodical. So you have left and you have created so much impact in the music business. I hope you know this, and if you don't, I'm here to tell you thank you.
Thank you.
Across Africa, what allowed you to create that level of structure in your life?
I was running from poverty. What? Yeah. Do you know where I came from? Shit.
Tell us.
I'm the 3rd son of my mom, but the 1st from my dad. My mom was a steward, so she cooked food for rich people.
Oh, wow.
My father drove rich people. To give a perspective, my dad got queried because I was playing football in the BQ and my ball went into the compound of his boss, and I didn't break anything. They just saw me walk in and walk out, and my dad got a query. Yeah. Oh, wow. So we're poor. So coming from that, moving around, obviously depending on where my mom gets a job or my dad gets a job, that's where we get a 1-bedroom BQ house. Our living room was our bedroom. So you wake up in the morning, you roll the mattress, you tie it, you take it out, bring the table in, and then at night, take the table out, bring the mattress, roll it. So first of all, I was running from poverty.
It's real. That's
But
real.
I think I got to a point where I began to be a bit more comfortable with making money, right? And I started thinking more about where do I want my kids to be? How do I want to open doors for them? And that became my driving force. So I started thinking about things a bit differently. For example, I have two goals in life. There are three. I won't tell you the
What's the
third
two
one.
goals?
Two goals in life. One is I want to be able to have dinner with my kids more times than I don't. Now, this sounds like a very simplistic
No,
thing.
as
Like,
an exec, it's
why
hard.
don't you exactly? You need to have money to make that kind of decision. Where you can say, I'm not coming for this meeting at 7 because I want to eat with my sons, right? The second dream is I want to be able to tell my kids how I made money. So I have a record of how I made my first 1K, how I made my first 10K, my first 100 million, etc. Right? So I have those records because I don't want my kids to ask people, how'd you make money? And they're like, oh, it's God. There has to be some sort of system around you did X, Y, Z, you prepared yourself, an opportunity came, no matter how lucky you were prepared, right? And I think that's now what fuels the things I do.
Do you think you were lucky?
Yeah, definitely.
I
I,
don't.
I do know, I know a lot of people that worked harder than me. I mean, you have to do the hard work
Yes.
and then luck sort of walks by.
I disagree. And, this is where and we've been friends for years now, but this is where I think that we downplay how hard we work. Like our first meeting was at Echo Signature, like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like that is hard work. Like you put in the time and the effort. I think alignment happens. I don't think it's luck. And I want us to be okay. I think the reason I don't like the word luck, let me just be honest. The reason I don't want, because it almost downplays how much you've done.
But that's my point. In the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
where these tiny pieces of so at the end of the day, there's so much you can do to be successful.
Yeah.
There's so much. There's hard work, there's the basic stuff, but sometimes it's just out of your control. The reason I say I was lucky, so in the American embassy houses, right, the residence houses, my mom used to work for one of the people there. And when you're approaching 17, you kind of have to, you're not allowed to stay there, right? So I was 15, I think, and we used to sneak in and out of the compound. And I remember one evening I was sneaking out and I met this guy called, then it was Major Charles Derek Campbell. I think he was taking out the bin. And we met and he goes, I didn't know kids lived here. And I was like, oh, I don't live here. I came to see my mom. And he goes, oh, okay, like, what do you do? So I guess he was curious and he started asking me questions. And we spoke for, I think, an hour plus. And then he said to me, if you could ask for anything from me, what would you ask for? And I said, do you have a library? And he goes, that's a weird thing for a 15-year-old
Even my
to
face, I said,
ask.
I won't even ask for
So
money.
he asked, I said, do you have a library? And he said, yes. Okay, come to my house at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So, which is crazy. Another crazy story. For 4 months, because I used to wash cars at the time to have extra, wash cars and wait tables. And I remember I washed his cars every Saturday morning. It was this massive GMC truck. Every Saturday morning for about 4 months. And he thought the gate men were the ones washing it. So I would show up like 5:36 in the morning, wash the car, then I'll go sit by his staircase and wait for him to open the door every Saturday. So the way he found out one Saturday, I think he left something in the car and he came to the car and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I do this every week. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. Apparently I've been giving something to the gate men. And
to say thank you.
They didn't say anything. They didn't mention, but
why would they?
But meeting Charles Derek Campbell that night was coincidence. If I had spent 1 minute in the room, or just waited or talked to somebody, I would have missed him. But that man introduced me to the Kareems, introduced me to a lot of the people that I know in the business. And yes, I had to work hard to earn their trust, but at the same time, I could have missed that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like in the grand scheme of things, we do some really great work. We work really hard. I know people that worked very hard but weren't so lucky. So I guess the universe works out eventually, but I think it also keeps me grounded.
I was going to ask about that because one of the reasons I adore our friendship is the fact that I haven't met someone as grounded as you are in the midst of the chaos that is the music business. How do you stay grounded?
I've seen what it's like for people to literally lose themselves. Like I see it every day. And I think it reminds me of how easy it is. Like I say to people like, that guy, see the way he's behaving because he has money. I say, you have the money first. And then let's see how you behave. You know what I mean? And I think that is one of the things we all learn to do. There's a way I describe, and I say this with all due respect to people who may look like it, but I have no respect for anybody who doesn't work for their money. But the way I describe new set of fraudsters, the Yahoo boys, how I identify most of them is dirty feet and Gucci slippers. Gucci could be anything, but because I know where I came from, and where I came from, my legs weren't so, there was a time when there were cracks, right? And what happens is you begin to work and build yourself, and certain things start to disappear over time. But when you make money just like that, you then want to own the things immediately. So you're not fit, you're not prepared for that thing. So you're now wearing these expensive shoes, but you have legs that will damage them. So I think that is how you can identify. So when I sit back and I look at people and my situations, I say to myself, is this the time? I drove the same car for 9 years.
Yeah, I remember.
Right? I drove 9 years, and it wasn't because I couldn't buy a new one. It was just because I just felt like I didn't need to. Right? So you grow, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God, you bought this big car. You bought this big car. Like, yeah. I have 2 kids now. I want to make sure they're comfortable. So those situations, I think those are the things that hold me back. Knowing where I come from, knowing what my parents had to go through to feed me. My dad used to wake up. He had this boss who kept him till midnight. He lived in VI, and he would make him walk. My dad would walk from VI because his salary wasn't enough. So he walked from VI to save money and come home and be up at 4 to walk back to VI so he could wash the car and get it ready for the guy to go to work, who finished work and then wants to go hang out at the bar. And I saw my dad go through that. And I think those, you can't see that, or you shouldn't see that and then be ungrateful about any phase in your life.
Yeah, no, I think it's so beautiful put. Something my dad used to say to me growing up was, I'm working with what I got. And when someone says something to you when you're 12, 13, when you're asking to go to Disneyland Paris, and like, you don't realize the sacrifice that our parents had to make for the life that we live. And now that I'm older and we have kids, I'm like, I'm really working with what I got. Yeah. But I didn't understand it at the time. So when you think about, all the things your parents did and instilled in you to get to where you are, do you feel like being a parent and a husband has played into that? And if so, why?
Well, not really. I think that our parents grew up in a time where they had to do what they had to do. And that's why sometimes when people, there are parents that were horrible. Yeah. But I think most of the parents did what they knew. Right? And like my dad never hit me. He hit me once. That was my mom's sole job.
To hit you?
She did the beating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
my mom would give you clotheslines. You don't even go there. My dad hit me only once, and it was a knock on my head. So what he used to do, I came first every year, every term onto primary 5. And what he used to do is he will bring me out. To some people, this might sound cruel, but it's not. You are allowed to end the chicken. Yeah? So that's what we used to do, right? So my dad, you come first, he buys you your own chicken, right? Now, this was a big deal coming from where I was coming from. You know what I mean? So so everybody else has their own chicken and they eat their stuff, but this one is yours and you killed it yourself. And so this particular day, my dad took time off work, but the chicken was waiting for me. I remember I was with my classmate then, Jimmy Kanoba. So we're three. It was either me, Jimmy Kanoba, or Miriam, who came first, second, or third. Both of them were dragging second and third. But on this particular case, Miriam came first. I came second. Jimmy came third. And Jimmy escorted me home. I don't know why. I can't remember why. I don't know. I think I was scared. I don't know.
Oh, really? Because you went first.
Yeah. So I get home and my dad was waiting for me to,
Give you the
my
chicken.
son first. And I was like, oh, I came second. And my dad, I think it was reflex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just, my guy just released. And I could, he felt sorry, but he didn't apologize. But I could see that he didn't mean to do that. He was shocked. You know what I mean? But that was the only time my father ever hit me. But my mom, did that. But I think they did what they could, what they felt they needed to do to get us through. I'm learning things a bit differently. Like I'm paying more attention to the boys. I'm identifying the peculiar traits. I'm preparing them. I've never called any of my kids terrible too. And the reason why is I truly believe things you say matter. It affects how you interact. So if I start calling him terrible too, I do expect him to be terrible. And that then affects how I interact with him. So instead, I've come to the conclusion that the kids think we're stupid. I'll explain.
Explain, because I'm like, are we not the adults?
Yeah, but you see, when a 2-year-old is growing up, he's beginning to form an opinion, but he can't speak. So he's trying to have a conversation with you about stuff they want, and you're asking them about all the other things they didn't ask you. He thinks you're stupid now. So that's the frustration. I remember taking my son, as my wife was pregnant, and I was taking him back and forth. And on one of those trips, we're going back, and I passed immigration, and I'm standing there, and my son starts crying. Now, before I left the house, I had put milk, I had made food, and then I kept like another extra. And so he's crying, and I'm like, what's going on? So I bring out the food. This is right after the immigrations check. So I'm, putting him down, bring down the bag. I'm like, hey, what do you want? There's food. The crowd goes louder. So now I have to empty the bag because I have to do this. I do this elimination thing to figure out what he wants.
Every parent,
right?
Is it milk? Is it
we're bringing
banana?
things. So I realized that I brought out the empty bottle and brought it out, and he tries to grab it. And so I'm like, okay, you want the bottle? You could have said that. So I gave him the bottle, and then he starts crying. So I'm like, bro. So I pick up the milk, and then he looks at it. So my son wanted me to make his food fresh.
Oh, he was particular.
Yeah. So right there, outside the immigration line, I was making baby food for my son, right? And I think just going through that process humbles you, and you realize, okay, so maybe the kid isn't a troublesome person. Maybe the kid just wanted you to make food. He enjoys watching you make food. So it changes your perspective around things. So I think our parents didn't get this chance where they could read multiple things that gave them idea. They were just hustling, you know what I mean? So I think it's a different time. I don't hate them for what they went through. I recognize the blessing we have with the information we have now.
So much more. We have so much more tools than I think they ever had. And I think we are able to replenish our toolkit.
Yeah.
Because we actually have more tools. So I'm eternally grateful to my parents.
Yeah, sometimes it can be confusing though.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard to process. I think, especially now as parents, we're having to process things that we didn't process when we were younger. Mm-hmm. And I remember, my daughter coming to the kitchen, and she would hold and cling onto my leg. And what you just said about, them wanting to watch you do the thing is really powerful, because as execs, we're moving through life so quickly. It's like, God, let me just make your food so I can give you your food and I can go. But now I'm going to look at that scenario like, the reason she's clinging onto me and just staring at me is because she is admiring what I'm doing. She's learning.
The best perspective for this is nobody on the face of the earth, even your spouse, wants to spend as much time with you as your child.
Really? It is true. Until they're 18, and then...
Yeah, no, but that's the point. Like, now that they want it, give it to them. because eventually, like there was a picture I took of my sons, and I just took the picture, and I thought very soon these ones will be arguing with me, right? Because that's just what it is. So the period you have where they, like my son running at me from school when I'm picking him up,
Oh, that's
you
the
know,
best feeling
stuff
in the
like that. But very
world.
soon that young man is going to
He's
look
going
at
to
me and
spot
he's going
you.
to just say, "Why are you here?" You know, this babe, I'm talking to this babe. Why are you here? You know, and that's just the reality. So you enjoy the moments you can, and I think because there's research that shows that there are more fathers that are present now than
Yes.
ever before. So it's just part of what it is.
And the thing is, and I, I know that research exists because, me and my husband talk about it often, is the men, like, when you're dating men, right? As a woman, you get told by the generation before, don't expect him to cook, don't expect him to clean, don't expect him to do anything. So you come into marriage or partnership already wanting to carry the load. However, what the new school women who are also working, carrying their load, we come into the partnership like, it's a 50-50 situation, or like, I need you to help me with the child as well. And I joke with my husband that, I appreciate that. I still say I appreciate it because, again, culturally it's weird. It's weird for, our in-laws or, his parents to see him changing diapers because their parents they didn't do it. They either had someone to do it because they lived in different parts of the world. But in this generation, it's like, my husband cooks, ish. My husband cleans. Do we get help? Yes, of course we get help. We're busy. But, the expectation isn't for it to just be on one person. And what I love in, seeing you grow and watching you develop as a father, as a husband, is how much presence you have in your home. Like, I've been in your home and I've seen, if you say something to the boys, they just stop. And like, all eyes are on dad. And I love that fatherhood has changed you in a positive way. It's grown you and it's stretched you.
Can I be honest?
Come.
You see, what you see is as a result of, I'm a militant too. Like you don't like there are conversations I have with my boys like they're grown.
Really?
Yeah, I
Why?
have those because the world is cruel. And as much as I don't know what it's like to be a girl, I have no clue, never been. But I know what it's like to be a boy. I know what it's like to grow up to be a man. And I feel very strongly that if I don't prepare these boys for the world, I need my boys to be dependable. I need them to be reliable. I need them to have integrity. And that comes with feeling sad, being disappointed, failing, and being able to pick yourself up. Like when my sons used to fall, I told my wife, like, nobody picks them up.
Yeah, I saw
You don't
that.
pick them up. They get up and they get on with what they want to do. If you keep picking them up, they begin to expect you to pick them up. If they realize that if I fall, I'm gonna need to get up. I know dad's here, but I need to get up nonetheless. They get up. And I think for me, these are the things that I try to think about because I think about where I'm coming from. My wife is probably, when I met my wife, she was head of trade marketing at Kraft Heinz. She was
Your wife is a boss.
yes, so, and there was even concerns within her family that is this boy aware of what he's getting into,
Yeah.
right? And she was a hard guy. Even the way she talked, she talked to everybody like she was at work talking to subordinates, right? That was when we got married. I'm here now. Life is soft. The babe has reduced her hardness.
My baby's soft.
She's soft.
My baby's. Thank you.
Hair. But the point I'm making is, she had to be that way, because that's what the world is going to ask you to be. And when you find the opportunity to live a life that is to an extent protected, right? A woman now feels the need to be comfortable. She can now be more feminine. Imagine being in an office and you're with 10 guys. And my wife used to oversee markets in Asaba, in Port Harcourt, right? So you have to go into this thing and you have to be hard. You come into the world and you kind of carry that with you into your relationships, I had to be patient with her, learning that I see why her parents and her family were concerned, but at the same time,
you got this.
You understand? This is a baby now. What's going on? So I think those situations help. But in terms of me, what you see with my kids is as a result of what happens when we're all alone, right? So my kids know when daddy says don't do that
They
anymore,
stop.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come from me being like, oh, don't do that. It's like, no, it's like, oh, sorry. You won't do it. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much But it's not like, oh, come here, I'm going to get wire, I'm going to beat you. Like for example, now the kids are going to 3 and 5. I've told the help you're not allowed to carry his food after they're done eating. They have to carry it to the kitchen. They may not be able to wash it yet, but they must carry it. They have to pack their toys. Nobody's helping them pack their toys after they're done. Just simple things like that give them a sense of responsibility. And some of them will come and say, Daddy, I've packed my toys. And, it shows that they're beginning to register that this is something they should do.
How do you, and I just maybe need to hear this out loud, but how do you show them that you love them?
How do you show them you love them?
Or do you tell them you love them? I'm just curious to know like what that looks like at 3 and 5.
Every day. Before bed, before school.
Okay.
Kiss daddy in the cheek.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean just because I have a friend, right? We check on each other regularly. I have men's hangout.
You do.
And one of the things I've learned is a lot of men don't have outlets, right? And this thing about being dependable, sometimes it makes you go into your space. And I want my kids to feel like they can come home. You know what I mean? I'm going to kick them out.
At what age have you decided?
20.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, they need to, from school, be going.
But they'll have a house that you've bought them that they can live in, have you?
So my plan is each of them is supposed to get a house.
Okay.
They are all British. I'm the only Nigerian in my house. So they're all going to get a house in their other country. But I don't want to spill everything now. But eventually they're going to have to make a decision if they will sell the house or keep it for rent. Their first business decisions will hit them after school. Now that I've said this, it might be a different thing.
It might be completely different.
But I need them to fail quickly and deal with the embarrassment and the disappointment of failing as quickly as possible. And then let them get their head together. By 27, they should be ready to go.
Okay, I think that's a good timeline. But as we talk about failure, what would you say is your biggest failure today?
Oh, I failed a lot.
That's what's your biggest.
I don't know. I've set up and shut down over 6 companies.
Oh, wow.
I used to think that paying people more money meant that they would do work.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
I learned that the hard way. Even management. Even management, because I had an idea of where I wanted my management agency to be.
And you've managed a ton of people.
Yes. But it never panned out the way I really wanted it to be. I do consider that failure. But I don't beat myself over failure. I don't dwell on failure. It happened. One or two things. Either we could do it or we couldn't do it. Clearly we couldn't do it. It's what it is.
But it's made you incredibly successful. I think failing forward is something we don't talk about enough. I think it's okay to fail. But culturally, I know it's hard. Culturally, our culture tells us you can only succeed, and that's it.
I'm not allowed to swear, man.
You can.
Oh, I don't give a shit. First of all, I achieved my dream in life.
Which is?
From where I was.
Oh, from where you were getting out.
Years ago. Yeah. So everything that is happening now is just extra. For example, I don't really care. All the wristwatches I have that are expensive is no.
I know your babe now.
Yeah, so if you leave me, I'm buying Skajen. It's like £100.
We love a humble, successful man.
So I buy those things because I really I'm living my dream.
Yeah, you're content.
I'm happy with where I am. So it's not like I don't dream. It's not like the big things I'm doing now, the projects I'm working on, but it's not like I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, if I don't have this is the situation. All my neighbors are richer than me.
Well, depending on what you define as rich.
They're richer.
Don't forget, I know where you live.
They have money.
That's what I said, it depends what you define.
But the point I'm making is that I've just gotten to this point where I'm happy, right? I have an amazing marriage. I want to go home as soon as I leave home.
Oh, I love
right?
that.
I have kids that I'm thinking about their future. I have a great job, and then I have something I started that has blossomed into this amazing thing, training people and placing them across industries. I can't even misbehave outside now because my student might be watching. You know what I mean? I have these things I've done And at this point in my life, in fact, I'm doing so well that I've now created a space where I hang out.
Yeah,
You
you
know
do.
what I mean?
You
So
do.
I'm happy. So everything else is extra. At this point, anything I add to it, which I plan to, is just extra, and it's for the kids.
Okay, I have a few more questions because we can gist forever. We've sat in a hotel lobby and spoken for 4 hours. So like this is just like a snippet. When you talk about, we spoke about failures. I'll be amiss not to talk about the success. What do you say is the pinnacle of success for you and the thing you're the most happy about that you've succeeded in?
Man,
I think I know it, but I'm curious to know what you think it is.
I'm proud of myself as a husband because
Aww.
it was hard though.
I didn't think you would ever get married. I'm just saying.
What? When I married my wife and she was telling me what to do. You know how, so I'm the breadwinner in my family. So shifting that mindset, because I had to sit with my parents and I had to tell them, I told my mom, and I love my mom to bits, but I told her, you'll be my number one for a long time. Somebody is coming to take your place.
Oof, say that again. Let them know.
So it's important for you to understand that you are my dad's wife. And my dad would never let anybody disrespect you. I will never let anybody disrespect my wife. Do you understand? If I had to pick, I'll pick her. Right? And it was a difficult conversation. I think it was a difficult conversation. It was difficult for me because this is my mom. You know what I mean? But if I'm going to marry somebody, I'm going to have to trust them 100%. And sometimes you trust wrong.
Yeah.
I'm blessed, right, that I trusted the right person. But I think I was forced into thinking about life differently. And I say this to be honest with you. I love my wife more than I love my kids.
Oh, you should. Absolutely. I'm part of that school of thought.
So, I love the boys, but they need to piss off soon. Because the truth is, like,
you still have like 15, 20 years.
Yes, but think about this. For 20 years, I'm going to have to think about them.
Yes.
I have to plan their future. I have to make sure that there's cushions for them. I have to make sure they have their trust funds. They go to school. I have to think about all these things, right? What happens when they come out of school and they don't get work? I don't want them in my house. So how do I secure them without them coming home? Like when you cry, come, now go, right? How do I build that system? So I have to think about them. Everything I do right now, I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about the kids.
It's a lot.
At some point,
they have to go.
You know what I mean? Like I want to sail the sea. We're flying the family for vacation this summer, and the cost.
This is why we have one child.
Yeah, your friend. Anyway, the cost. So you're thinking about these kids and making sure they're okay. But there's a point where they get to where there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't wait.
Oh my God.
Where I'm like, I've tried.
No, and you're doing a fantastic job. I think, someone asked me earlier why I created this podcast. It was to have these conversations. People aren't this honest, like on and off screen. And I think that,
this is
a regular conversation for us every day. But the fact that, do you know how many people have sat and asked them, what they think success is? And it's like their job is the number one thing they say. And that wasn't for you.
About jobs, look.
They come and go.
Not just that they come and go. When I get a job, I want to deliver my best. But even if I'm trying to deliver my best, and I've seen people give their hearts to jobs, and the business collapses, the company decides you're not the person they want to lead them to the next stage, you fall sick, things happen. And the idea of work is I go to this place to help create something that can contribute to the benefits and well-being of my family. So I'm doing it for my family, right? So that means the work is a means to an end. The end is the family. So the work can't be
the
thing.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Again, we can speak further, so I'm going to try and wrap this up with two questions I ask all my guests before they leave. Is how do you find balance in everything that you do?
Let's be honest. You need money to create balance. See, all these things people are saying is, see, don't deceive people. Because I always say, first of all, I never tell anybody don't chase money. You know that thing people do. People that have money will tell
Yeah,
you money is not
yeah. Money's
everything.
not everything.
Piss off.
Please give me the money. Let me
Piss
find
off.
out myself.
Let people make the money, then realize by themselves that money is not everything. It's not in your place to tell people. But to be honest, you need financial stability to build a life. So
Facts.
I play football 2 to 3 times a week. I work out with my staff twice a week. So that's 4 times, 5 times that I'm active. Where I play football is there are two places. One is 12 minutes away from my house. One is 6 minutes away from my house. My private space is 7 minutes away from my house. My office at Sony is 12 minutes away from my house. Church is about 15 minutes away from home. That's the farthest. So I've built a life that after doing all the stress, I can just retire to peace, right? And it costs money to do that. So for me, I'm not going to beat around the bush and say, oh, when you do this, if you do this in the morning when you wake up, some days I don't wake up on time.
Because you can afford to not wake up
So,
on time.
but the reality is, if you get to a certain point, and it's not, when I say money, I'm not saying tons of money. Not all of us will be Dangote, you know what I mean? But there's comfort. There's money you have and there's comfort that you have, and you're able to pick times for things, and you're able to build things around you that can sustain you after. Because when I'm at work, I don't control my time.
Correct.
So the moment I leave work, I'm now in my space. I can decide where I want to go, what I want to drink, who I want to hang out with, and what I want to do. And that's how I create my balance.
All right, last question, because like I said, we can talk forever. A lot of people don't know, well, some people may know that you created MBA, Music Business for Africa. Why did you create it? What was the gap that you saw in the industry that you said, I have to fill it? And for context, in case no one knew this, I spoke to Godwin as he was thinking about the idea. And to see what it has become in the, what's it, 5 years old now, 6 years old? To see what it's become in Africa has been incredible. So, while I know the answer to why you created it, because we had a conversation, I want you to tell everyone why you created it. Because I thought that was what you were going to say was the most successful thing you did. But I like that you said it was my babes, your wife. So
no, there are more things. We're working on new things. So every 4 years, I have a new project I set up. So
you see multiple streams of income.
Yeah, every 4 years, I find a new thing to do. But I started MBA because I was looking for people to hire. MBA wasn't the first name. It was called the Internship with Godwin Tom. And I was trying to hire somebody, but everybody I spoke to didn't seem to know what they were doing. And I had gone to this law firm where I was working. They basically looked through my, shout out Kike and Tokumbo, and let me see.
Yeah.
They looked at my book and they were like, shut this thing down. Like, you've been doing this thing wrong the whole time. Your taxes are a mess. You're this. So I was like, so what have I been doing since? So I decided, if I, who had been in the industry at this point for over 8 years as a manager, I didn't know what I was doing, then imagine what other people would be going through, and the guy's coming. So I started this online thing, and then I started trying to hire people. And I hired people, and I realized that the people I hired were struggling to interact with the industry because I was teaching them something different from what people were doing. And so I decided to start the talent management training program, which was the next phase. And then after that, I was going to do my master's in a university in the UK. And I went for their open day, and I spoke to the dean of the university, and I was like, okay, when I was done, I was like, I don't plan to move to the UK. And everything you want to teach me is about, I'm trying to figure out how this works in Africa. And so I came back, searched over 1,200 universities in Africa at the time. There are 1,600 now. And none of them offered music business management as a course, which made no sense. Like, we're the youngest population. Most
fastest
of our people
growing.
are fastest growing. People actually, damn. It's projected to go. It's
going to grow.
Right?
It's going to keep growing.
So I thought about it, and it made no sense. We're the youngest population. This makes no sense. And so I looked around. No university offered it. So I built a curriculum to start it. So that's where it started from. But it's grown into this thing that's bigger than me now.
It's huge.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
way
so
bigger than me
huge.
now. So I was in Tanzania. Somebody tapped me. He's like, "Hey, how are you, sir?" I was like, "I'm fine." He's like, "I'm your student." I'm like, "Oh, nice." And then the people who spoke on the panel, the two young ladies who spoke, one of the best intimate lawyers in Tanzania is my student. One
Oh,
of the best
wow.
managers in Tanzania is my student. I've got people in Ghana, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Kenya, scattered around the world who are students. So as I said, I can't misbehave outside.
I told
Uh,
even I'll be watching, so it's okay.
so yeah, so that's where it came from. That's
Yeah.
what it is, and I'm grateful for what it is now.
I'm grateful for what you've created in the music business in Africa, the legacy that you have created for your kids. So I just want to say thank you. And that's live to a T. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode where we got to discuss legacy, music, entertainment, and all things in between that help us stay grounded. And if you haven't learned anything, take this one thing away. Maximize your life, find balance, and stay grounded.
Boom.